So to begin with the transition, we have a standard template. It's located here in the S drive under Detail Library, W75 Transitions, and then in that folder, the template file is labeled as this, W75T-0 template. So you would open that file and then do a save as and save it in the folder that you're working in. So here is what the template looks like. So in Paperspace, we have these viewports, multiple viewports already set up. And then we have identified in Model Space where to put the 2D details and then a little elevation view of what you're working on in 2D. And so when you get into Model Space, you'll see those two areas identified for you clearly of where you'll begin. Now you can see that my screen in Model Space is split. Yours may not be. And so this is very helpful when working out these transitions. So in order to split your screen like this, just go to the View tab, and then under Model Viewports, there's this button here called Viewport Configuration. If you click on that drop-down menu, and then you click on this option of 2 vertical, that'll give you these 2 views. And what these 2 views do, or it allows you to have the isometric view or 3D view on your left side, while you may have the 2D view on your right side, which will help you better see where you're at, dimension, move things around without having to toggle your UCS around. So that's one thing you want to have set up when you get started on these transitions. So I have one I already started for you, and your starting point will always be the 2D details. So in this case, I cut and pasted the 2D details from the profiles, and then I just pasted them here where it said to put the 2D details. It's okay if they don't fit in the rectangle, that's just a guide. We'll modify the viewports in Paperspace later. And then all I did was delete all the dimensions and all of the notes. And that's standard for our transitions, since we're not trying to create shop drawings, we're just trying to visually show the intersections. Okay, so that's the basic layout and how the starting point of a transition. And then the next thing is you're going to start modeling. So when we model here in Model Space, you want to kind of, this whole area in Model Space is your working space. There's no exact science or location of where you're going to put it. And then you just modify the viewports accordingly when you're done with the model so that they appear in the viewports in Paperspace. So you'll see what I mean as we get going here. So my first tip for beginning is to start with your vertical members. So in this case, what the condition we're looking at is we have this vertical mullion with a pocket filler on the left, and then as it extends up vertically, it becomes a typical mullion without the filler. So it's the same mullion pieces, the only difference is this filler will exist only at the bottom. So for modeling, we need to have closed polylines, which all of our extrusions are, and we will not be modeling any of these gaskets or fasteners, any of those small pieces. It's mainly the bodies and extrusions that we will be modeling. So to start, we're going to copy those main extrusions, the vertical members. So I'm going to take all of them here, and you want to make sure you grab the interior portions like this so that it becomes a hollow later. I'm going to get the male and the female bodies and then the pocket filler. Okay, so I'm just doing a copy, still in 2D, and I'm just going to copy it somewhere down here in space. Again, it doesn't matter really where, just somewhere off in space down here. Okay, so just a basic copy of those pieces. Now down here is where I'm going to start making them in 3D, and the basic 3D command is to extrude. And so you can type EXT on your command line for extrude. and it's going to ask you to select your objects you want to extrude. So in this case, we're just going to select them all. You can extrude multiple pieces at once. And then it's going to ask you for a height. So again, we're just doing a small segment of this building. We're not going to do a whole 15-foot mullion or whatever the actual length is. We're just doing a small snippet of it. So I usually do about 36 inches or 24 inches. So for demonstration, I'm just going to put 24 inches, which is 2 feet. And now these are 3D objects. So you can't tell that from this view because we're still just looking flat down on the pieces. But if I go over here on my left viewport, and if I just do a zoom or I'm scrolling my mouse, you could see there in the red, those are 3D objects that we just extruded. To navigate in 3D over here, you just do a shift and click the wheel of your mouse to orbit. So if I do a shift and hold it down, I'm pressing down the middle wheel of my mouse and holding down shift, and I'm able to kind of orbit around. Okay, and then I'm letting go now. I'm using my wheel to scroll in and out. That still works the same. And again, just kind of rotating around. So you can see we have a 3D object here in this view, which is the same objects here, just looking at it in 2D on the right. So now for some reason, these green objects did not extrude. So we'll try that again. So again, we're going to do EXT. And I can extrude from this side, so I'm going to click there, and there, enter, and then it's going to, so it says something, it's removing it. So it may not be a closed polyline. So those are the only little things, so self-intersecting. So it's because of the way that this part was made. It may have some small radiuses, so we may need to clean that up a little bit. But the basic extrude concept is the same. So I'll fix those parts for you so that you won't have this issue. So then we'll go on to part 2, and I'll show you how to extrude a horizontal member and how to get it in the right spot in relation to this vertical member.